So now for the next 5 sessions, the onus lies on me to connect all these dots. So I cover whatever Sandeep has talked is the outer limits for me. I will start from EFA, CFA, and then CCA. Two are the parts. So one, I will tell a little bit about the nitty-gritty of these things, and second, how to do it in RStudio. How part is very simple. That should not take more than 30-40 minutes. Though if you know about the RStudio, it's even less than that. Talking about what is EFA, CFA, it's something like, we can talk about 1 year completely and still people will have the doubts. Most of the doubts are not because they don't understand. Most of the doubt comes because in that paper it's written like that, or my guide is asking me to do this particular way, or he or she is asking to do in that way. That's one of the pressure on the scholars. So before I start my deliberations, now I afraid I don't have such a structured presentation like Sandeep. Now after 2 decades of teaching these statistics, I feel more comfortable talking about the statistics while taking an evening walk in the garden. I can teach the things better there. It's very difficult in a formal environment to teach you the things, because my interest is actually what is happening at the back end in very, very layman term. So I don't have any PPT or something. So it's more like the grandfather's stories. So bedtime stories, I will share something from the history, something why question is wonderful. This question mark, why? When we have a EFA, why the Emily method? Why the PLS method? Why the CCA method? Why this method? So must be something is going on there. So we'll talk about that. Before that, let me just tell you about the Suman has already told you that on the campus technology, the link you've been provided, your registered email ID is your username and password is a password. Only when you get into that portal, there are the 4 links. On the left hand side, you will find file. All the files we have uploaded, and we have, I will just tell you what is there in which file. The second will be about the videos that will be activated after the completion of this workshop. They will upload all the video there as well as on the YouTube also. The third one is the certificate. Obviously, certificate will be available. That link will be activated only after the completion of this workshop. Maybe it will take some more time, then it will be activated. And the fourth link is change the password. So you should always change the password at the first priority. Let me share my screen and let me tell you what are the contents which I have shared with you. So this is the folder. I have just taken it from all of my videos, or Sandeep's inputs are in it. The capital R you see, these are the R script files. So there is a CCA, CFA, EFA, and 3 of the PLS. 6 are there. 7th is just it's a backup. Then there is a different name to the different terms. People call it as somewhere, people call it as construct or factor or determinant, latent variable. So I just try to write down something. There is one file which I will use for all the explanations. That's a demo. So I will use it for EFA, CFA, and the PLS. There I will use the demo file. Demo file contains the 4 variable. I think I have used this particular file in all of my videos. So there is a quality leads to loyalty, loyalty leads to satisfaction and behavioral intention. So these are the 4 constructs. Then there are 8 or 9 are the demographic variable, age, income, gender, etc. 3 are the marks of Hindi, English, and some other science language, science subject. Manual calculation of AVE. Now this is a file because Sandeep told that we compute convergent validity, we compute other sort of validity, AVE, CR. So that's everything is computed by beta. So all the softwares will give you the beta values. We put into the beta value and we get those values. When we work in PLS in the RStudio, so you remember when you work on the MOS, if you are familiar with MOS or with Smart PLS, you make diagrams. There are the circles and there are the boxes, etc. So, but here we write in a particular way. We write in a particular way. There is a matrix form of way writing. So this is the file which will be used for PLS. Only for the PLS. The name of the package is PLSPM. Okay, so any complex model, it's explained beautifully. It's so simple. Then there is a folder called CCA papers. In the CCA papers, there are these 2014 common belief about. This was, I think, the first ever attempt where they number of people, they actually wrote this paper, 2014 paper. Then 2016 paper, 2017, 18, 20. Then CSEM manual is also there. A very recent paper of 2020 and supplementary material. So these are all related to CCA for those who wish to read it in detail. Now, a good thing is most of these papers are in open access. So either you can approach them on ResearchGate or you can find them on their sites of the people. So these are open access. You can give it to anybody else. Now, these are the 5-6 PDF files are there. These I will discuss. One file almost has nothing much to do with you. It's NIRF parameters. So I found NIRF is one of the very good example of a CCA where it's 100% explained, sort of a weightage is given. So I found one very relevant example is NIRF, but others are the things. Now, let me start from, where should I start from? Let me start from here. So Sandeep, please tell whether my screen is visible. Okay. Anybody from the Campus Technology team? Whether my screen is visible, because all people are on Zoom.
Yes. Yes, sir, yes, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. So see, now where should I start my story? So I start my story again with the old debate of science versus social science. Now there are the two things. So there is a science and there is a social science. Science, I always tell that the science stabilizes somewhere in the 200 years or more. So people were, working on different units for weight. You remember a distance in India was measured when Hanumanji went to Sri Lanka. He didn't traveled in kilometer or miles. He traveled in kos. So there was the kos or something, gaj, or there are some so many different terms are there which for the depict distance. In US they call it as the miles. In UK they call it as the kilometer. Somewhere else they call it with a different furlong, etc. So first condition was that when you have to, humanity has to work as a whole, all the things need to be stabilized. So 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometer. 1 cos is equal to 3 kilometer. Something like you need to, conversion should be comfortable. So units are the first thing. And when the units are stabilized for every single, like physics, like chemistry, biology, everywhere, the units were stabilized, the concepts were stabilized, and all the fields were progressing. Coming to the social science. Now, social science mostly are here. It's opinion, it's a feelings, attitudes. So these are, till date, there is no instrument I can measure. I can just see at your face and I can make a deductions, which most of the people do, but there is no scientific way. Okay. So first look for, whenever we are dealing with the social science, I have written rules for PLSM, but rather these are rules for CFA. Please remember, there are the two sort of the variables we encounter with, observed and the latent. Observed, I'm talking about the science. So like your age, dash year. Tell me your age in the exact years. Tell me your weight in exact kilogram, and so on. That is the observed. That's a very much fantastic, and we generally denote it with the box. Denoting with the box means now this is very much stabilized. You know what it is. It got certain more parameters. For the person A, in the box you have written 40 years. For the person B, it's a 20 years. So we know the 40 years person is twice the age of 20 years. That's also stabilized. So that all the principles of science will work here. Latent variable is something which you cannot measure. now in itself, it's a very contradictory. When you can't measure, then how will you measure it? So what we will do, we will ask something else and then we will infer. Now this is from the starting, you can see the things are going, south. There's something mistake will happen. So if I want to ask you your motivation for this particular workshop, I'm not asking you how motivated you are. Rather, I will look at your attendance and I will say, well, if you have attended, that means you are motivated. Now there are every chances I will be wrong. Some people are here only for the certificate. Okay, that may be the one reason. But I'm considering that this reason, or somebody, like I asked question, if you didn't answer, you said, well, it seems you are not interested in my subject. So this may be wrong. Yes, but how will do it? I remember one of my students long back asked me a question that may seem a very stupid question, but look at the question. She asks that, sir, my name is Neeraj Where is it? No, it's not in the hand or my leg or my kidney. It's not there. Somewhat it's here. So her question was, if I open this skull, okay, will there be something like written, my name is Neeraj? I don't know. How do you see this question? But I find it really wonderful question. And then I thought of that, where is this information? My name is Neeraj. Obviously, it's in the brain, not mind. It's in the brain. Okay. Then in the brain, where in the brain? Then study the parts of the brain, etc. So I finally approached, what is a thought? I asked some people of medical science, what is a thought? And all they told, thought is a potential difference. Well, what sort of definition is this? Thought is a potential difference. So what it means? It means that there are the millions and the billions of the neurons are there, and the signals are going for absolutely no reason, where the signals are going here and there. And those signals, they contain, my name is Neeraj. Now, this is horrible. How do I measure? How do I enter your brain and measure your loyalty? So no, I will ask something and I will infer. This is the first thing we need to do. So can you see the problem starts from the starting? So science, everything is stabilized. In social science, everything is, invisible. It's something like there is an invisible thing. And I'm telling you, see that invisible person. So there are every chances we will go wrong. That's why so many people have done so many things. But we will remember only those people who worked on the common sense base. I hope you are with me. And it's going to be a very, very fascinating journey of entering into somebody's brain and take the things out. So how we'll do that? So first thing, please look for the nomenclature. Anything that's in circle, it's sort of, invisible. So this is called as the latent variable. Now, what is a latent? Latent is which we cannot measure directly in stats. This is called as the latent. Observed variable, which you observe directly. So your attendance is very much tangible. Either you are there or you are not there. There is nothing about thinking about it, right? But your interest is something that's intangible. Now I am associating your attendance with the interest, that if you are attending more classes, you are interested. If you are not attending, you may not be interesting. Again, I'm saying I may be wrong, but this is the way we will do. This is the way we are doing even before starting our PhD or MBA or even the schooling, etc. So look at this. I ask it to all the participants in the workshop. When you are a small kid, do you know that what was the right time to ask your parents for something? Like you want 100 rupees from Papa. So did you know this is the right time or this is not the right time? Now, fortunately, most of you knew and you didn't take any tuition for that. Maybe some experiment you asked and there was a, the Papa just came home, you asked for something and you get a slap and you remember, okay, experiment result, not a good time to ask. Maybe sometime later, maybe next morning, maybe this way, etc. So it means we are right from the beginning of our life, we are doing that. When we do this sort of thing, this happens. That's what we call the body language. We look at the face of the people and say, no, this is not the right time. We will ask later. See, this is something we are observing something and we are inferring something. So with the latent variable, I use the word infer. With the observed variable, I keep the word measure. I hope that's fine with you. I see something, I observe, and I make a conclusion out of it. And this is, sort of, we don't do it consciously. It's a process that always go. So we call it as statement. In the management discipline or commerce discipline, people call it as the statement. And what we will infer from those things will be the factor. So if I want to ask how much your relation with your superior, I will not ask directly that how is your relation, because people may not feel very comfortable. So I ask indirect questions here and there, and from that I will infer relation about this is the factor, and the things which I ask is called as the statement. And third, in the people of psychology, they feel more happy calling it as item and construct. So it is the one and the same thing. It's something like if we start from Jammu Kashmir. And what a mother is called. So maybe in Jammu Kashmir, people call Ammi. Himachal Pradesh, it's a Ma or Mummy. Then in Punjab, it's a baby. And the baby turned out to be sister in Haryana. So likewise, when you go to Maharashtra, it's something else, I, and then it becomes again Amma. So person is the same because of that different cultural context. You call it as the different name. So don't worry about that. There may be some other names also. Latent variable, observed variable, called by the people of statistics. Factor or statement, commerce, management, social science. Construct item, this is spoken by the people of psychology. You can add the term dimension also, or so many other things. At the end of the day, there is something which is a tangible, which you can measure. That's measure word. And there is something we infer. So you can see body language, face expression is something we see. And this is, we conclude, not a right time to ask for something from the boss. That is what we call as the infer. Now, these are the two things we have settled down with this, that we have to live with this such sort of a very complex word. Let's go ahead with that. When we go and ask somebody, now comes a one fundamental question. A fundamental question is, what is your point of view, whether other person will tell truth or not? See, we so far forget about the formative, reflective, and everything else. You tell me, when you ask somebody whether the person will tell you truth or may not be telling the truth. These are the 2 points. So one point of view is, yes, why people will lie? People will tell me the truth. Okay. So in that case, you will ask one thing only once. For example, if this is the workshop, so I ask that whether the speaker is speaking, communication part is okay. You replied something, strongly agree, highly satisfied to highly. Then I asked for the contents are okay. Then I said, well, this online mechanism is okay. So I think I am asking every single thing only one time, and I have full confidence that you will tell me the truth. Why you will lie? Okay. But now comes the real point. People say, well, asking about something like a workshop is okay, but when you ask about very complex things like family members or your preference in the marketing or the human relations or the politics, people, some of the time they give a desired sort of result. This is what people expect. So I must tell that thing, not the truth. So what the second school of thought says, that there is no harm. You take the response and check once again whether the person is telling the truth or not. Are you getting it? What I'm saying? So again, your point of view is there. Forget about the research paper and everything else. We are doing our own research, okay, on the common sense basis. We'll talk about the professors and the literature and everything else, ABDC paper. We will talk it later. First, let's talk common sense. If you believe that some person is, will tell you the truth, then go for the formative. Ask one thing one time. But there is the contribution of Francis Likert, wonderful person. He said that, see, opinions are so subtle. Don't ask in one go. Ask in a number of ways. The same thing should be measured in number of ways. Now, what will happen then? So we will check whether the person is saying the same thing or not. Meaning of the same thing is whether the person is consistent or not. Now let's do one particular case. Sandeep has taken wonderful examples. Let me first go back to the examples of Sandeep. Hope this screen is visible. This is diet as a reflective construct. Now I have so many people. Let's take Sandeep, our sample. So I asked Sandeep, what's your take on this? I eat healthy food, strongly agree to strongly disagree. And Sandeep says strongly disagree. Okay, please listen it once again. I asked Sandeep, please rate this statement. I eat healthy food. And Sandeep says on a 5-point scale, from strongly agree to strongly disagree, or a vice versa, strongly disagree to strongly agree. Sandeep said strongly agree. Just stop it here, no further question, and tell me something about Sandeep. So what conclusions we can draw? Number one, Sandeep is not eating healthy food. So might be he's eating some sort of, he himself admits, I'm not eating healthy food. Okay, might be eating some sort of fast food, maybe some sort of junk foods he might be eating. Maybe he's, then looking for the health. Maybe he's good now, but in the future it may be a problem. Maybe his circumstances or the family is such that they also eat this sort of. Now see, wonderfully, Sandeep only told me just a tick. From one tick, these are the things or something. So now looking from this perspective that I know now about Sandeep, he says, I eat healthy food. He says strongly disagree. Okay. So when I ask second question, I don't eat much junk food. What he should tell me? Remember from the first statement what Sandeep said, I eat healthy food, strongly disagree. So I don't eat much junk food. Okay, I don't eat, but Sandeep will say, well, but I eat. Here also he will say strongly disagree. Because in the first one says, I eat healthy food, strongly disagree. It means it might be he's good with the fast food, good with the, okay with the junk food, okay with the other sort of the food. So when I say I don't eat much junk food, so perhaps most likely he will say strongly disagree, because he say actually I eat junk food. And if the question would have been I eat junk food, then he should say strongly agree. Third, I have a balanced diet. I have a balanced diet. Maybe because it says I eat healthy food. Maybe he say I'm not eating healthy food. So maybe the diet is balanced or not. But again, it's a debate. What is a balance? What is the balance? Balance is something like protein, carbohydrates, or is something like liquid and the solid, or something like Indian and the foreign food. I don't know what is balance. So this might be a confusion. Let's look for the second one. Do you understand something is happening in the reflective? In the reflective, the response we get only from the first statement. Only from the first statement, we got the answer. Then why you are asking other questions? We are asking other questions just to ascertain whether, number one, the person understands correctly or not, and then whether the person is consistent or not. Okay. So see, when I was a student, I was always fascinated by this person, Cronbach. So I used to think, how come this person knows everybody on the planet and every single thing? So whenever person you take any questionnaire and somebody will say, no, ask Cronbach Alpha. Cronbach Alpha will tell that whether the things are okay or not. So I used to wonder how this is, just next to God, such a wonderful person. He knows everyone on the planet, whether the people are telling truth or not or something. So it's not like that. Cronbach Alpha produces such a simple thing. It says, it just works on the common sense. It says that when you said, I eat healthy food, strongly disagree, then I eat junk food, should be strongly agree. As per common sense, this is what you are saying. So whatever you are saying, just be consistent to that. I'm not saying you reply that I eat healthy food. Yes, I'm not saying this. I'm saying whatever you are saying, whatever your position is, please maintain your position. I may ask anything, but you please maintain your position. So I am just checking you with yourself, whether you are consistent or not. So look for one of the very common mistake, ability. Look at the book says my weight is 50 kg. I check the weight. It says machine says 55 kg. I checked again 55 kg. I checked again 55 kg. Machine is invalid but reliable. Now, such a what should I say? When the machine is giving 55, first thing is, see how many pitfalls are there in this example. When I know my weight, why I'm checking it? And then when I know machine is not correct, why I'm checking it again and again? But well, these are our examples. The problem with this question is, problem with this example is, it seems I'm collecting the data again and again, because I'm just going to the machine again 55, third time 55, fourth time 55. I know actually is 50. So the point here is I am checking the data again and again. But look here, has any one of you went to the people once again that, hey, please fill the questionnaire. I have to check the reliability. Because look, compare it with the example of machine and the weight. You do again and again the same thing, isn't it? That is not the scenario. In case of this social science, we believe that people give answer one time, that's more than enough. Nobody will give you answer again and again. There is experimental study. So in cross-sectional data, in descriptive study, what you do, in one go, you ask the same thing again and again, so that you will know whether the person is consistent or not. Just see about the hotel satisfaction. I appreciate this hotel. Sandeep says strongly agree. Okay, it means he really loved this hotel, and might be he's very happy with the features, with something else, but he appreciated the hotel. So what is your thing? If he's happy, so are there chances he will come back? Maybe most likely he should come back. And any chances he will tell to somebody else that there was a wonderful hotel? Most likely it has to, can be, not sure. So Sandeep said, I appreciate this hotel, strongly agree. Now, when the beautiful thing is, we know what Sandeep should say. The should is important. Underline the should. Looking at the first response, we know what will be the probable response of the person. I am looking forward to staying in the hotel, strongly disagree. Now, why so? I appreciate this hotel, very strongly agree. I look forward to stay in the hotel, strongly disagree. How is it possible? So might be now I will wonder, then might be somebody else has booked this hotel, he is okay, but his first preference is not there. Might be this is the case, okay. I recommend this to hotel to other, strongly disagree. Well, he is the happy with the hotel, but why he will not recommend to hotel again? Okay, now see, 1%, 2%, 5%, if they do it, it's okay. That's why we take a large sample, 400, 500, 1-2% can behave, can answer like this. But if majority of them are doing this way, then might be something is wrong with your questionnaire. If majority are doing this way, 5-10 are doing, no problem. That always happens. People always, take fun in confusing other people. But when majority of the people are doing it, then certainly there may be some sort of mistake, something is going wrong. Now, let me come back to my example here. Hope you are with me. So, Sandeep or Suman, you can unmute in between and tell me if the screen is not visible or if you are not with me. So, yeah, I hope it's everything is okay. So, some of the people have raised the hands, or I know I have totally asked no queries. We will take the query in the evening session. Don't worry about it. Every single query will be handled. But first, let me complete the concepts. I have asked the question, I like introducing new brands and products to my friend. Okay. And now you tell about me. So this question was asked to me. I like introducing new brands and products to my friends. I said strongly disagree. I never do that. So what is your idea about me? If I give answer this way, it got certain meanings. Like number one, might be I never check the new brands or new products. This can be one. Or I use new brands, but I don't like telling the people about it. This might be always the truth. Okay. The third thing is new brands and product I like to introduce, but not to my friends, to strangers. This might be the case. Okay. Anything can be there. Second question comes, I like helping people by providing them with the information. Now, if I like introducing brands and products to my friends, then generally we will assume this person should say, I like helping people by providing information, should say strongly agree or not strongly agree. Let's say agree, not agree. Let's say neutral. I don't understand. But how can somebody say, I like introducing to, at the first place, it comes out as strongly agree, and the second says strongly disagree. Now we need to, stop and we need to think about it in detail. Might be a person is telling me the truth. There is something else. Backside. People ask me for information. People are asking, agree. My friends think of me as a good source of information when it comes to product or the sales. Most likely, person should say strongly agree. Now here it means the moment we know about the first one, we know about the other things. What he or she will most likely speak up. For a moment, let's call it here. My friends do not think of me as a good source of information. Now, if the person say, I like introducing brands to others, for the fourth one, my friends do not think, the person must say strongly disagree, isn't it? So it means as a researcher, I am free. I can ask the question in whatever way, but the respondent, I expect the respondent to be consistent. If the respondent is not consistent, giving any answer here and there, then, not a good respondent. But if majority of them are doing it, then certainly there is some fault with the questionnaire. Some fault with the questionnaire. So what are the things, what we look for? Number one, we must look for, like, let's make certain rules for us. One rule for me, one for the respondent. For the respondent, I assume the respondent must be consistent. Now see, here all the things are connected. Actually, the point is, entire social sciences here and here, you remember that Munna Bhai, chemical locha, everything is there inside a chemical. All things, our satisfaction, feeling, loyalty, happiness, politics, everything is inside. There is no real thing. So everything is inside, and that's within a, tipped into a chemical and something. The problem here comes, the person was very, very angry. Person was just, got fired from the job. And I reached there. I like introducing new brands. Person said, go away. I said, no, please, it's very important. I'm doing PhD. Please answer me this question. I like introducing you. Now the person is giving all, very strange results. So what is happening along with that response? Can you see something else contamination coming? The bad mood. Because of the bad mood, the response has changed. Have you seen that? So if you just send a student out of the class, that you are late, get out of the class, and just in the next lecture my feedback is taken by director, you can just guess what that student is going to rate me. So it means our opinions, feelings, they are also affected by something else. Please remember, this something else after some time will be called as common method biasness. This is going parallelly. So you are here in the room, is a common method is just standing outside the room, just next to the door. And he is also affecting, that is also affecting common method biasness. So what people, and it's a very, some sort of so common sense things. So experts said that, okay, don't ask entire questionnaire in one go. So ask a dependent variable at one time and say, okay, I will come tomorrow or maybe next week, and ask that from that different way. No harm in asking the same question again in the next week also, if it is possible, if the person allows. So it means transient, mood, etc. Space is also there where you are asking the question. You have to make every caution, you have to take care that there is only response will come, nothing else will come. And to tell you the truth, always everything else will come. And that we have to look for. Common method biasness, endogeneity, and so many things will come. But hope you get the idea of reflective. Reflective, it's not that I don't trust my people, my respondent. I just want to ensure that they are telling me the truth. So I'm asking the same thing. Now with the same thing, please don't understand this is copy, paste. My professor asks me, ask the same thing again and again. Okay, no, I'm not saying that. Change the wording, sometime positive, sometime negative, sometimes else. Now see, Professor Gaskin mentioned such a wonderful thing, and I really appreciate him. He says that while asking these questions, I put one statement in between. Maybe the third statement says, if you are reading this statement, make a triangle in front of this. Now he says, whenever I get this to the people, when I take back, the first thing I look whether there is a triangle or not. If there is no triangle and people reply don't strongly agree, then just throw that questionnaire. That's no good. Please don't go for the data entry. The person was not reading it. Size of the triangle doesn't matter. Small triangle or the bigger triangle, etc. But triangle means the person was actually reading it. So it was not just like taking and give you back. No, it's not like that. So one way is you check again and again, because it's opinion we are measuring. See, if it's the weight, if I wish to check your weight and there are the 100 participants, I won't look to the participant. I will look to my weighing machine. My machine should be okay. Okay. But if I'm looking for the opinion, I need to talk to the person. So one word we attached with the person, let's call it as reliability. Reliability means when asked again and again, you are reliable. Now, I know a number of people will say, what about if somebody is reliably wrong? Means wrong data given, but reliably. Well, we will accept it. We will accept it. So far, there is no way to enter into your brain and get the things out. So far, we are not. Maybe in the future it will come. Maybe I remember the movie PK. In the movie PK, they say, why do you talk? You just hold hand and the entire data communication happens. Well, that's a fantastic thing. But till we don't get that technology, we have to go with this reflective scale and other things. Okay. So yes, if a person consistently gives wrong information, I will believe. I have no other way. But yes, I will say when going for the last data for 400, 500, maybe I got some sensible people also, and they will give me correct information. Coming to this one. The first thing I already told about myself, I like introducing new brands and products to my friends. I said strongly disagree. Okay, strongly disagree. Now, second thing, I always check the price of the product. What will be my behavior? I never purchase the new brands or new product, or at least I don't introduce to my friends. This is my characteristics. I told you about it. But what about the price? Can you make a guess about the price of the vendor? By it can be anything. I may say strongly agree. I may say strongly disagree. I critically evaluate the promotion How it is concerned with the introducing new brands to the friends or checking the price. This is totally different dimension. This is a different dimension. I prefer offline mode of payment as it is more secure. This is totally different dimension. When you are taking totally different dimensions, it is called formative. When you are measuring same thing again and again, it's called reflective. And this one is called formative. Please look for the two things, reflective and the formative. Basically, where it lies, who will decide it? You will decide it. Nobody else, none of the professor or researcher will tell anything. You first decide what's the way. You know your population best. Maybe you are a part of that population. You know about those things. You are interested in doing a study among those people. You tell what sort of people you have. If people are damn straightforward and tell you the correct thing, go with the formative and take things. And if you need, the topic is such, it cannot be asked directly. Like if I'll ask for how's your marriage going on? No, it's not in black and white. And nobody can say 67% good. There is no such thing. Nobody will say it's a pathetic or bad, then they should go for divorce. And nobody will say we are the perfect. That is also not the case. So how to reply this? We need to ask certain questions from it. Again, comes here, how is your marriage, or how is your teacher? Let me talk about this. How is your teacher, or this workshop? Here, it might be possible if, say, let's help Campus Technology. Campus Technology is conducting this sort of workshops on often basis. So Suman might be interested. What we should look in our workshop? So let's help Suman in deciding what should be there. So hope Suman is listening. So Suman, people say that, the first thing comes in the workshop is if it's a offline workshop, it's a residential workshop. Okay, let's make it a residential workshop where you need to come and you need to stay there. So first people will say that, okay, the first thing is the contents. What are the contents? They should be good, very practical and the latest one, contemporary. The second thing, contents are good, but who's making a delivery? Resource person, that's again the second thing. Third thing, stay arrangements must be okay. It should not be a very, horrible sort of residences. So stay arrangement should be okay. Having the three things means it should be secure, it should be safe, and also. Then food should be good because you are staying there for some days, food should be good. And then might be the infrastructure. All of the things are there, but there is no electricity. Well, that may not serve the purpose. Electricity, laptops, labs, etc. That should be there. Now, please look for, I have told the 5 things: contents, resource person. The third thing is the accommodation, food, and fifth one is the infrastructure where you spend your day. Now, what is your point of view? Just think to yourself. If the contents are excellent, I have taken, artificial intelligence in research. It means rest all are good. If we are conducting a research on artificial intelligence or machine learning in research, it means the food will be good or no, won't be good. Okay. If this is good, the resource person will be good. Now again, resource person good means what? Resource person itself, you can say the resource person has good, wonderful knowledge, but knowledge is one thing, communication is other thing. So knowledge is good, communication is good, but the person don't, listen. Person don't listen. Like me, people are raising hand and said, oh, I don't see. So it can be person don't listen. It might be the person is not patient. People are trying to explain and they say, shut up, just listen to me. So one in itself, it is resource person itself, it might be knowledge, communication, empathy, patience. These are the within itself. It might be a person is good at other and lacking the other things. It might be this scenario. Are you getting it? What I'm telling? What sort of constructs you see? Are they, like if you say a person is good in communication, it means person know what he's talking about. Person is very patient, very empathetic. It means it's a reflective skill. If you agree that no, all things are different, then it's a formative. These all are the formative. So a very, very thumb rule is you measure one particular thing in one way, it's formative. More than one way, it's reflective. You understand that? So coming little ahead, if you understand reflective and the formative, now the thing comes, then what is this composite? Sandeep talked about, actually Hensler talked about. What Hensler talked about? Hensler said, see, it's a simple, very, very simple idea. Formative, you say there are the 4 things, 5 things. Like for the workshop, what was our checklist for Suman? It's about contents, then the resource person, then it was the accommodation, food, and the infrastructure. Now, given the 5 things, is it all for the workshop or something else is left out? There is always something else left out. There is always and always something left out. Something else might be, you know, it must be hands-on, must be there. Because in the first 4, it's just like a movie. You just watched me speaking. But was there any hands-on? Okay, hands-on, again noted, hands-on should be there. Then data files must be given. Okay, data files must be given. Then timing, because where we talked about in the first 5, timing of the workshop. Timing must be there, timing. So see, always we are adding something. So if we just come original 5, what are the original 5? Contents, resource person, stay arrangement, food, and infrastructure. If you block the 5, what about the timing? What about the security? What about the hands-on? I left out something, no? That is called as the residual. Left out part is always called as the residual. So problem with this is, in social science, you can never ever tell that this is okay, this is finite. For example, if I'll ask you, intelligence of your baby depends on what? So you may start telling me factor number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You may tell 10, but you can never be sure of these are the only 10. There is 11th. Maybe I'm not recalling at the moment. Maybe I don't know. My grandfather know about this 11th or the 12th, but there is always something else. This is whatever human beings are. Human beings, we can never ever say, you know, most of the time it happens that this happens in once in the 400 years, but that may also affect you if you happen to be there when that event was happening in 400 years, right? The point here is, one perspective is there is always left out. So we are talking on some major things. There are minor issues, we understand, then we leave it, but these are the major things. Now Hensler says, no, this is one way of thinking. Other way of thinking is there are the 4 items and only 4 items. That's it. There is no 5th item. That's what is called as in the design. So in the design, when you are looking for a product, you say, well, this should be there, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. There is no 5th thing. There is nothing called residual. Only 4 things are there. Then you enter into the zone of composite. Composite means now there is no value addition. So one thing particularly look for Hensler, Professor Hensler is working on University of 20 perhaps, and he's working in the design department. So from design aspect, that's very much perfect. The designing part, there are the finite set. That's where I told you about the NIRF. See how challenging it is. How to evaluate the institution? How can you evaluate an institution? So much is happening in the institution. So NIRF said that, you know what we will do? We will measure only those things which can be quantified, not qualitative, which can be quantified. Now it's going to be very funny. For example, how many lectures I took, that is countable. That's very much countable. But how I teach, that is intangible. So how I teach doesn't make any marks, but how many classes I have taken, how many students are there, how many passed, these are something which are the numbers. So you need to convert everything into the numbers. Okay. So you convert into the numbers. The things that are converted into the numbers have the marks. Other things doesn't have any marks. So NIRF said, well, we have the 5 sort of things what the institute is supposed to do. So it's a maybe for 5 minutes, it's a sort of NIRF tutorial starts now. Maybe helpful to some of you. So first one is TLR, teaching learning resource. How many faculty members are there? How many of them are PhD? Please see, whatever thing I will speak up will end up with a number. I'm not speaking about any qualitative, it's all quantitative. How many faculty, how many student faculty ratio, faculty members with the PhD, faculty member with more than 15 years experience, number of women faculty, okay, all of these. Then it comes to how many publications are there for the faculty, how many citation for the faculty, in the Scopus and others, in the top 25% highest cited, how many numbers are there in that, how many research projects are there, money involved with that, consultancy projects, etc., number of patents. See, every single thing is there. Then it comes to student. How many student actually, you know, you got enrollment. For example, I say I got an enrollment of 600. How many seats are full in this year? 590. Okay. Out of 590, how many came to the final year without any backlog? 570. Out of the 570, how many actually got placement? 500. What about the left out? How many of went to the higher education or something else? Tell me about that. What was their, when they passed out, what was the passing marks, average of the marks, how much, placement figures, salary, etc. Can you see every single thing is quantified and there is a proportion given. So TLR, teaching learning resource, 30%. The second one, 30%, graduation outcome, 15%, outreach inclusivity, 15%, perception, 10%. Everything is structured and they say nothing can be changed. That's it. It's more of a composite. More of a composite. Only 5 things are there and their weight is decided. Think in terms of weighted mean. 5 elements, this much weight, this much weight, this much weight, add up, it becomes total. Nothing. But if somebody says, no, we must have the international exposure, etc. It won't be NIRF ranking, then it will be some other ranking. Design will change, which Sandeep was saying, design will change in that case. It will be something else. So you decide or from your side and you tell, well, this is the rank, this is the way. So these are the finite items having a particular weight. And then you just get the total. This will be called a composite. Hope composite is little bit more clear to you now. It happens more of the when there is a finite set, there is no residual left out. As Sandeep pointed out, the moment you say there is one more, the design will change. It will become something else. You know, when you are going for purchasing a 3-bedroom flat, if you are saying that can we have one more bedroom? Remember, it won't be 3-bedroom flat, then it will be called 4-bedroom flat, and there will be a different cost and the price for that. Okay, so design will change. But first, we will discuss primarily about the this reflective and the formative. Now, if you understood that if I go for the reflective one, what is going to happen? Same thing asked with the same person again and again, and if the person is giving correct, so there will be high R between all the responses. Listen it carefully. If the same thing is asked again and again, for example, let's talk about the workshop once again. I take only 3 examples: resource person, the second is the contents, third is the food. 3 things I have taken. It means I will ask you certain questions about this workshop. So I asked about the resource person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you are very happy with that. So what will happen? The person will say, I am good. I like the resource person, or a totally, stupid resource person you have called. This is one. Food. Either food will be good or food will not be good. Likewise, contents will be good or not good. Stay will be good or not good, right? Something like that. So I will ask again and again. Now look for the relation between the 4. Relation between the 4. What is your point of view? If the resource person is good, then food is also good. Or if the food has more spices, it means the resource person was stupid. Is this some way we are going to expect, or these are totally different issues? So resource person, it's okay. We'll talk about the communication, knowledge, empathy, that we'll talk about. But first, as a person, as a whole, I tell you where things go wrong. People don't talk much about it. Why things go wrong. When a resource person bad means a food is bad, and when it happens. So it happened with me, and actually participant taught it this method to me. I was taking 2 years back, I was taking a workshop in the month of June, and my host have put me, it was in Delhi, and the host put me on the top floor. Okay. In the month of June, when you are on the top floor, you can expect, it's going to be a very hot day. And 50 people are sitting and the hall is full. Okay. Then they have the AC room also, good. But with the problem with the ACs, it's totally packed. There is nothing like a windows are open or something. There is a AC. And unfortunately, the AC was not working. So you can think of a horrible scenario we were in. One, the geographical conditions were very horrible. And then in such horrible circumstances, I was trying to teach them statistics. So it becomes a hell. So on the top floor, on the 48-degree, with the 50 people in a room, all packed, all windows, doors locked, and AC not working. So it was practically hell. So somehow I completed my session. I was telling about reflective and the formative, and we came out for tea break. I was asking my organizers that you please change room or do something. This is very horrible. One participant said, "Sir, I'm, wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I learned all these things and the concepts are very clear and I'm so happy." Now, if from this person you ask, but see, you are happy with the contents or maybe the resource person, but AC is not working. That's a fact. But the person said, we are not here for the resource person or the cup of tea. We are here for the knowledge. I'm so happy. Now, if you ask this person, remember what is it? It's an emotional reply. So one thing we always forget, we get total correct answer when there is a rational reply. But there is another thing you need to deal with the human beings. That's an emotional reply. So one person that's so happy that there was a, if hypothetically there is a shortage of food, person say food was very good. AC, that was very good. Everything was good because one thing was good and he was so happy about it. He said everything is good. Think of the other scenario. One person, got late because of some metro problem, because of the taxi problem, etc. She reached 5 minutes late. I said, get out from the class. And then she was very furious. She said, I started at the 5 a.m. and it took me 6 hours and you simply said, get out. I said, no, nothing, get out. Now, if she is offered the food, she is offered the other thing, and at the evening, if she will be asked that, please fill in this questionnaire, she must say food was good, AC was good. Now, AC didn't created any problem to that girl, but she said, since the resource person was bad, everything is bad in this workshop. Can you see this is an emotional response? This is what we are doing. Look for, all of us love our family members. There is no doubt about it. But this doesn't mean we agree to every single thing they speak. Absolutely not. There are so much differences. Can you see the complexity? You love your parents? Yes. Do you agree with to all whatever say? Absolutely not. Most of the time not. But you still love? Yes, we still love. How will you explain this? So complicated. So if it's rational, then it means that I love my mother, but she did a wrong thing here. So any questions from Lalita? Can you put a mute, Lalita Yadav? Suman, please take care of Lalita. So, where was I? I forget. So, it might be that, rational one is you say only the correct thing. That this is right, you are my parents, I love you, but this is where you are wrong. Or this is the way it should be. But most of the time, what happens, we are not like this. There are so many layers are there. So there is you must be obedient, you must be grateful, you must be this. So that's why the correct response goes like below this. That's why we ask such a simple things. Now what we ask, I ask you, let me ask you 3 questions each for the 5 things. Let me tell you what are the 5 things for the workshop. One is contents. Okay, content should be good, resource person should be good. It's a residential workshop. Your arrangements, stay arrangement should be good, safe, secure, cozy, everything as per the geographical conditions. 4th, food should be good as per your preference. In India, we have so many fooding habits, so it should be catering to all. And the 5th one should be that it must be infrastructure should be good. Labs are there, PC are there, AC is there, and everything is up to the mark. What we are not taking, we are not taking the timing of the workshop. We are not taking the hands-on, other things we have left out. 5 I have taken. If I'll ask 4 questions each of them, my understanding is if the resource person's reply may not be have a direct consequence on the food. Food is a totally different thing. It's possible that food is terrible and resource person is good, or food is excellent but the resource person is very pathetic. It might be the case. If your reply is coming, I expect you to give me different answers. And purposefully, I will ask Suman, today put more spices. Today create a shortage of this, so that we know that today we have done something. You must tell us that there was a shortage of the food and there was a spices were very high content. If we do like this, I have done the things. I expect you must tell me that there was a shortage. But if you continue saying this was excellent, all 5, what it means? It means might be they are not existing separately for you. It means the same emotional response. Either you are so, pissed off, you say everything is bad here. There is so high spices and even this resource person is bad and whatever the contents, nonsense contents. If you are saying like this, it's more likely an emotional response. Bad, continuously bad. Good, continuously good. Otherwise, it should not be like this. Otherwise, it has to be this is good, this is bad, this is this. Telling these are the separate things is called discriminant validity. What is discriminant validity? Ability to discriminate between what? Between this is the first, this is the second. A resource person is good, but the food is bad. This is telling me this thing is called discriminant validity, ability to discriminate between the things. What is convergent validity? Convergent validity means when you ask the same thing again and again, you get the similar response. Not only this is one part, there are other parts also, but likely this is the part. When you ask, you check again and again the similar responses. Remember the converge? Have you heard of this word converge? It is from physics. All things, you put a concave lens or the convex lens and the rays converge to a focal point, converge, coming to same point. When you are asking the same thing from a different of ways, the same response is coming out, converging. Convergent validity. Discriminant means when I ask something else, there is a separate one. Okay. So does this convergent validity make sense in the formative one? No, because in the formative, there is only one statement. There is only one statement for one particular thing. So where is the convergent validity? Not required. Is there any discriminant validity? But obvious, 100% they are discriminant. That's why you are asking the 5 things. They are supposed to be discriminant. They are supposed to be separate things. But in the convergent validity, that makes sense only in the reflective scale. So when it comes to a reflective scale, because you are not measuring something like height or distance, you are measuring something thoughts. It's a very, very sensitive thing. So first you go ahead with your results. I would like to say, well, see, there are the 2 important assumptions or 2 important caveats. What are the caveats? One for the researcher and one for the respondent. What is for the respondent? Respondent, we only expect consistency. Whatever you say, please be consistent on that. This is the first one. The second thing, from the, what is our expectations from the researcher? From the researcher, we will say, see, number 1, you must do the content coverage complete. Content coverage must be complete. You know, for that particular thing, whatever you are asking for example, if you are asking for somebody's married life, don't ask only about the husband. Please ask something about the in-laws also, about the other friends also, about the, you know, both side in-laws. Ask about them also. So asking husband and wife, it may be one thing, but you should, content coverage must be adequate. Okay, this is the content validity. So what is the second one? Construct validity. Got 2 parts. What is the construct validity? First part will say that convergent, when I ask again and again, the same thing was coming. And maybe, you know, I asked this on the first Wednesday, and then in the next week, it was the same, almost same. If you can do that, then it's great. The second is the discriminant validity, ability to discriminate. Okay. Then in the recent years, 2 more validities have emerged out in the recent. Now there are the 4. What are the 4? Content validity. If you wish to, you may note it down. Content validity. Second is the construct validity. Third is the nomological validity, and is the criteria validity. So first 2 I told you, content validity, there is nothing like any formula, etc. Content coverage should be, so you refer, I have referred all the papers, I studied all these papers, etc. Then there are some experts, you talk to the expert, they told you, yes, these are the studies you should consider, your guide, all these things. Construct validity, 2 parts, convergent and discriminant. I hope you understand the meaning. Construct validity should be reported only when there is a reflective. Makes sense more in the reflective. Okay. Though we'll speak about the convergent validity in formative also. Sandeep coined a term redundancy analysis. We'll come to that also. So, but primarily let's talk about the reflective. In the reflective, convergent and discriminant. When I asked the second one, people understood. Now he's asking food and now he's asking about infrastructure. Okay, these are the different issue. I expect you should give different answers. It might be that everything is good. Someone is such a wonderful host, everything is good, that's okay. But if I'll ask purposefully to make certain errors on that particular day, you must have reported that there was some problem here. So I will ascertain, yeah, people are actually checking everything. They are not simply nodding, they report all things. The third thing comes nomological validity. Now this is very interesting. So in the nomological validity, for long back, people call it as the common sense. But now in the recent one paper, Professor Hare has explained it in much detail. And I was really very happy to see what exactly this thing is. So I can see one participant, Lalita Yadav, she refuses to go on mute. So let me take her example. I asked Lalita that, Lalita, see, this is one diamond ring. You take it and go to that hotel and give to Mr. X. And give only to Mr. X, nobody else. Now the problem is Lalita has never seen Mr. X. So she's worried. It's a diamond ring. It's a very, very costly. How will I ascertain? So I tell that, see, Mr. X looks like this. He's the 6 foot. He's tall built. He's this. Then she said, well, I'm not very sure about it. I could recognize. Then I said, okay, see, whenever Mr. X will be with the servants, what will happen? The servants will be touching the food. Okay. Whenever Mr. X will be with the elders, Mr. X will be touching their feet. Okay. Whenever Mr. X with the friends, they never shake hand. They always say like this, you know, a punch. They take the punch, and this is their way of greeting. Okay. Now Lalita goes to this hotel, and she sees there. She sees a person. She suspects it can be Mr. X, and she observes her behavior. That okay, how she is doing here. Okay, this is also tick with the servant, with the elders. He's touching the feet with the friends, and then he say is Mr. X and give the ring to her. How to correlate it with the research? In the research, Professor here says that look at the other variables other than your dependent independent. For example, stress causes have an effect on performance. Now, don't look at the two. Look at the other things. If performance is there, motivation will be high. If motivation is less, stress will be low. Leader will have effect. Measure other variables and measure their effect with them and see whether the effect is correct. Because politics will increase the stress. If this I measured politics, stress is with me. I checked, I say yes, stress is good. Because this is what I expect from, you know, what the previous literature says, leader can create stress. And I checked the leader was creating a stress. Yes, this is correct. So I am checking stress not with the stress, but its role with other variables. So I must measure other variables and check if I find that is at par or as expected, the relation as is given by the other. This is called nomologically validity. Now you will say, well, who does it? Means for the two variable, will I measure 5 or 10? Actually, it's good if you can measure that 5 or 6, etc. You can write different papers for that. But nomological validity means I check this variable and its presupposed behavior with the other variables, not with the DV. That will come later. IDV with its all other things, it was found to be almost the same. DV was found to be the same. When they are same, it means IDV and DV are okay. Now let's see their relationship. Okay, that is nomological validity relationship. That's people called as common sense based. Coming to the fourth, predictive. Predictive means now one particular team, Professor here, Professor Ringle, they are advocating a lot about the predictive. This is, see, you take a variable, you measured it, you apply correlation regression and say be happy. But can we really predict about the future what is going to happen? We look from the research that if the performance go up, then this will happen. So can it really tell that thing? So there now Smart PL has started with it, and in R also we have it. There is something called the predictive criteria. So now how to check the predictive criteria? How do you know with the predictive criteria? So how we'll say there are the two methods. One, we will go with the ordinary least square method. Second, we will go with the MLE method, and we'll look for the residual part. So we are not predicting actually with the prediction is in the future. So what we will do, we will say, let's compare the two different methods and see which method is telling me where the residuals are coming less. That is my method of prediction. So 4 sort of criteria is there. So let me just sum up. Let me stop share. And let me see where others are still here. Okay. So the point here is what I'm saying. Number one, I'm just summing up the things, and then maybe in 5 minutes I will take the questions in the chat. The first thing I told you, science and the social science. Social science, opinion, thoughts, feelings, etc. So it cannot be directly like that of physical units. So we have to look for 2 schools of thought are there. What are the 2 schools of thought? The first school of thought is that people will not lie. The second is there is no harm in checking whether they are lying or not. The first one, it says formative. Ask one thing only once. That's it. Ask quickly. It's a sort of more of a checklist or that sort of questionnaire. The second one comes that ask the same thing again and again. When you say again and again, the first thing, their term will come like construct, latent variable, like motivation. So I will not ask how much motivated you are. I will ask 3, 4, 5 things. So it means the 2 points comes directly with the reflective. The moment you speak reflective, 2 things pop up. What are the 2 things? First one is Uni Dimensionality. Uni dimension. In one time, you will ask about one thing. that's okay. You can shuffle within the construct or in the overall scale. That's perfectly okay. But it means for one particular construct, you know there are 3 statements, 4 or 5, how many statements, you know about that. The second thing comes unidirectionality. The meaning of the unidirectionality is before starting the analysis, all things must be made on the same direction. If I'll ask the statement like, my friends do not think me as a good source of resource, I said strongly disagree. What it means? My friends do not think me as a good source of resource, I said strongly disagree. It means my friends do think me. Other statements are positive, one is negative, I cannot add them. I cannot make the sum. Remember, Likert scale was summated rating scale. I cannot sum that. For that, first go the score reversal. Like if it's a 5-point scale, then 6 minus 1. If it's 7-point scale, then 8 minus 1. If it's 4-point scale, then 5 minus 1. Reverse and then unidimensionality, unidirectionality. Unidirectionality, good to ask some positive, some negative and a shuffled way. But before starting, all the statements of one construct should be at one place in one direction. Unidimensionality. One dimension will be asked in a number of ways. That is called as the reflective construct. The other is formative construct. Third one is the composite. Composite means you tell these are the finite things. Sandeep told you the people of marketing can go ahead with that because Hensler said, see, in the marketing domain, we have identified 4 things and there are only 4. That's it. We don't entertain anything new. But generally in human life, it's difficult because mostly we say, no, something is always left out. Something is always missed out. So that's why we work with the formative. So these are the 3 constructs. Please remember in the reflective, there will be high correlation. If I'll ask so many 5, 6 things construct, so ability to distinguish between all 5 is called the discriminant validity. Maintaining about same position on the one is called convergent validity. So 4 sort of validity I spoke about. What are the 4? First is the content validity. Content coverage should be okay. The second is construct validity. Further 2. What are the 2? Convergent and discriminant. Maintain your same position and ability to understand these are the different things. Construct validity. Third is nomological. Nomological means don't see their behavior with the others as expected it is behaving. It means that is okay. The fourth one calls a predictive. Predictive means use certain techniques for the prediction and see whether the prediction is good or not. For whom these 4 things are there? For the researcher and for the respondent, please maintain your consistency. Read this. After reading, give the true. These are our expectations. From the researcher, we have the 2 expectations. Construct is good. Convergent, all sort of validities are good. And the second thing is adequate sample should be there. So it should not be like, somebody was telling me 2 days back that I got a large sample. It's a pan-India study and sample is of 400. Let's call it as 4,000. 4,000 pan-India. So I simply asked how much is the population of the India? 135 crore. 135 crore. What 4,000 people are thinking? Is it an appropriate sample? Do you think we can generalize the result of the 4,000 for the entire India? No. So either don't call it for the pan India or restrict your population or increase the sample. This is the one way. So this is it from my side. We got 5 minutes.